All right. Greetings, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to Friday night, Confronting Creativity. And I'm André Chumley. We're here on Make Weird Music, and with our fortnightly show called Confronting Creativity. Ladies and gentlemen, really honored tonight to bring a very, very special guest to you. Someone I've been listening to for most of my life, and uh, needs no introduction, but I'll do a quick one. Somebody that many of you first heard in the East Street Band, and he used to live on East Street. They named the band there. But the resume is incredible. His own albums are incredible, from the groundbreaking Tone, his group in the mid 70s that continues for many years, his many solo albums, his years with a long list of folks, from Sting to Peter Gabriel, playing with Stanley Clark, all kinds of things. But tonight, because we like to talk about what's happening right now, we're going to talk about his fantastic new record, Eyes Wide Open, that's been out for a few months. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how he's doing under this lockdown for all of us. And ladies and gentlemen, David Sancious. David, how
Hey,
are you?
I'm well, man. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. So you are, tell us a little bit. It's about lunchtime now. You're in Hawaii these days. How are you feeling
Yeah,
out there?
I'm on the island of Kauai. I moved here about a year ago. Year and
Oh, we got a little. Hello.
I'm good.
Oh,
You got me
oh,
still?
something glitched there.
Internet connection is unstable, it says
Oh,
here.
okay, okay. Well, we got you. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
moved there about.
So, about a year and a half ago, almost a year and a half. And I've been wanting to do that for many, many years. I've wanted to move here since the '90s when I was working with Sting a lot in those early days, and we were doing like Soul Cages and Ten Summer's Tales tours. I've wanted to move there since then, and it just wasn't possible because of work and life stuff. So, but it became possible last year, and that's it. I sold our house in Woodstock, and bam.
Okay. So okay. So we're a little rocky. Uh, um, but hey, it's the internet. I'm amazed it works at all sometimes.
Yeah.
But we got that. So okay, so sold the place in Woodstock, moved out there. Now what's tell us a little bit. I remember seeing an interview last year, and you'd said you guys got there like just in time, right? The whole stuff started happening just weeks after you arrived.
Well, it was a little bit. We got here the last day of January,
Okay.
and like I think January 30th or something. And actually, we stopped. The last time we came here was 2013, and we made a direct flight from New York to here to the islands, and that's a long flight.
Hmm.
So no, we're gonna break it up this time. So my wife's brother lives in Los Angeles, and one of my best friends, Vinny Colaiuta, lives there. So I said, yeah, let's stop in LA for the stay. We'll hang out for like 3 days. Had lunch, had dinner with Vinny and his wife on our anniversary, which was January 29. And then we took off the next day. So we had like February was fine. Yeah, it was like the middle of March or something when everything shut down. And like overnight, I lost a tour. I had a European tour all set. We were just wrapping up negotiations for the start and all that kind of stuff. Salary with someone I toured with a lot before. So that was a big rug pulled out from under you kind of moment. But for a lot of people, a lot of us are in the same boat. There's some people are doing very well. It's strange how, well, it's companies like Zoom and different things are prospering. That certain stock market things are like making a fortune, and other people are just having a tough time. It's like a 30-day cycle. You know, you got 30 days to get yourself together because those bills don't stop.
Mm-mm.
It's coming. They don't take a break.
They
So,
don't. They don't.
sure.
Okay, so no, it was what? So interesting timing though to get to a place where
Oh,
it's a
perfect.
little
We talk
more.
about it every day. How, man, did we just slide in at a perfect time? We found a great place, found a great house to be in. So very safe. It's very private and lush and beautiful here. It's outrageous. So
That's great. That's great, man. And what a beautiful and healthy place. And this is going to be a little different interview. I'm going to jump around a little bit, but let's start there on the healthy side and staying healthy out there. And I remember the first time I saw you play was with Peter Gabriel, and in the tour program, Tony Levin said something about David is one of my favorite people to run into at the health food store. And I remember, and I was just getting into all of that organic food and plant-based and all that. And I thought, oh, that's cool, man. I love this guy already. And he's into, but talk to us about that, because, man, you look great. And nobody can believe that. I'll say it because it's public information. This man was born in 1953. Come on, man. That's a lie. What are you doing? How do you, is it?
I'll be 68 in November. I think it's a combination of, you really have to, you got to get regular exercise.
Right.
You got to find something that you really like to do, resonate with it, whether it's, yoga or whatever it is you're playing.
Right.
My wife and I play tennis. I mean, for me, it's yoga and tennis. That's
Okay.
it. But now we're
That's
also
it.
into bike riding here. Since we got here, so we got bikes, and now there's a gorgeous state park that's not far from our house that we can go to and ride like crazy for miles. It's really gorgeous. And then we recently, not so recently now, I think last month or sometime, a month or two, we
Okay.
discovered snorkeling. Snorkeling is fantastic. We snorkel every chance we get, So that's been really fun, and it's good exercise. And there's this amazing swimming kind of swimming hole that they created with this reef. It's really huge, and it's full of tropical fish. And
Okay.
when you're snorkeling, you can swim along with these schools of gorgeous fish. I mean, they're not just, you're literally swimming in the school with them. It's great fun. But I mean, technically, it's going to be, you got to find some form of exercise and make it a regular part of your life. And food, you've got to figure out what you should eat and what you shouldn't be eating. Because everything that you could eat, even a lot of things that are called health food, depending on your particular condition, you shouldn't be putting that in your body. But there's a lot about nutrition that people don't know. I didn't know a lot, So, but I recently finished, when we got here, through an acupuncturist that I found. I did this 12-week program, and it was all about nutrition and Ayurvedic lifestyle. Like, for instance, I've been on this for, I think, since 2016, but it's called the paleo diet. Don't eat any grains. So all I eat is meat, fish, fruits, and vegetables. And I can eat any meat I want, any fish I want, fruits and vegetables. But I don't eat grains. I don't eat rice, corn, wheat, flour. All of that stuff is cut out. So the prolonged effect of cutting certain things out of your diet, your body kind of naturally corrects itself. So it's that. I went through it, and I know more about nutrition now, and I lead a very sort of anti-inflammatory Ayurvedic life. And so, years ago, back in the 70s, there was this book called Fit for Life by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond, and they were on TV a lot. They were one of the first kind of couple nutrition people. You'd see them on TV. And they had this chapter in the book, and it was all about this thing called circadian rhythms. And it's a thing in Chinese medicine and in Ayurvedic as well. So the thing is like this: you basically should not be putting solid food in your body until around this time. They technically said 11:30. 11:30, and you should stop putting solid food into your body by 6 o'clock. Right now, there's the guy who's Oprah's trainer. He got her into this as well. She pushes 6 to 6:30, and people, adjust their kind of thing. But if you can do that, so you're fasting, and it's called intermittent fasting, right? And that's it. Anything you want when you wake up, you want to hydrate. So if you put water in yourself, water, fruit juice, tea, whatever, but it's got to be liquid until around this time, 11:30, 12 o'clock. And the reason for that, I don't want to go too long about it, but the reason for that really is that the morning when you wake up should be for hydration and elimination. The last thing you want to do is put a plate of hot protein, like bacon, eggs, and pancakes, on your stomach if you haven't eliminated the food you ate yesterday.
Right.
And that's what people do every day. That's what I used to do, you know. And then you got to be honest with yourself about why are you eating anyway? Are you actually hungry or are you bored? You know, or it's just a craving kind of thing. You're trying to distract yourself from something. I'm guilty of all of that stuff, especially on the road. You got to be careful because your emotions are a thing you have to balance on the road. So you could wake up and just be craving and just not even get out of bed and have room service twice if you want. You could really abuse yourself and just think like, well, it's my time, it's my body, and I'm okay. And but I think that's it. Be honest with why you're eating. Another principle in this program was that don't fill your stomach up at a meal. When you get to about 80% of a full stomach, you should stop. You should just stop because the goal is not a full stomach. And personally, I feel better the more empty my stomach is, the better I feel on a energetic basis. From moment to moment, just being in the body is comfortable and fun when I'm not full and digesting food. So
Wow.
I don't know if you wanted all that much information from me.
Oh, dude, no, that is fantastic. And let me say, first off, the goal of this show is to kind of just talk to people about creativity, and wow, couldn't be more important. I mean, that is so great to share with people because your creativity, everything starts with your energy and how you're feeling. So it's great to get a little insight there. You're speaking my language, man. I've gone on tour grain free a few times, and it is amazing. So I got to get back to the intermittent fasting, though. You're right, man. You're so inspiring here because you eat at night and it just sits there. So thanks
Yeah.
for that reminder. That's
Which
beautiful.
is on tour, but again, it's part of the hazards of your lifestyle. I would be crazy if I said on a tour that every single night. I might try, but you might have to have a business meeting or
Right.
be in something that's important for you to be, and it's going to be after 6, and it's going to be in some restaurant, probably one of the better ones in town.
Yeah.
Going to be other ones around, and then you sort yourself out. You eat as lightly as you can, and you just sort of make up for it the next day, trying to do that like 3 or 4 days in a row.
Sure.
But
Sure.
it's going to happen.
And of course, on tour in Italy, everything starts at 11:30.
Look out! Come on.
So, well, that's great, man. Well, that's a great background. That's a great background. And well, let's talk about Eyes Wide Open because this record has really been just been great. And by the way, folks, it's 2021. How do you do things here? David's got a great band camp where you can go to Bandcamp. You can support him. In fact, today, what I want you all to do, it's Bandcamp Friday, where they do not take any percentage of the artist. And Bandcamp is great. We love it. But today, it's 100% to the artist. So today, folks, even do it right now. Click over to Bandcamp, find David's new record, Eyes Wide Open, and check it out. Tell us a little bit about the process there, because this record was done the year before in 2020.
Right.
Now, was it done, give us a little scope of that. How quickly was it done? Was it something that over the course of a year, or was it quicker? Or
No, I really started working on the record in 2016 after the election, after Trump won the election. I had been working on whenever I tour or travel, whenever I come home, the first thing I do is get back to writing music. So I had a collection of things, some of it from some years ago and some of it very recent. Like I'll give you an example, like for instance, the last song on the record, War in Heaven.
mm-hmm.
That's just, the whole track is just me and Vinny Colaiuta.
Vinny, right.
But that was recorded, the basic track for that was recorded, I think, in winter of 1992. It was on a break on a Sting tour. And Vinny used to live in Connecticut. So it wasn't long for him to just drive to where I lived in Woodstock. And we hung out. He came, and he stayed for like 3 days. And we just like recorded and like had a pajama party and it was just me, him, the engineer. But now that's one song, but one of the more recent songs, like In the Middle of the Night, I wrote that in 2019 after I came back from a gig in Cuba with Jeff Berlin and Dennis Chambers. That's really recent. And
was that the Moshulu part? How do you pronounce that? Is that
Moshulu?
Moshulu? Was that project?
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Went
yeah.
to Cuba. Wow.
But it's a collection of stuff. Some of it's really new. That song, Urban Song Number 3, was originally recorded in the late 90s with Michael Bland and Sonny Thompson from Prince's band. And I lived with that for a long time, you know. I re-looked at it when I said, all right, 2016, I want to wrap this thing up. I want to finish it. I want to make a statement about how I'm feeling about the state of, you know, American politics and society in general, right? So that's when I really put the metal on, like getting it all together. But that song, even though it was recorded a lot earlier, in 2019, I totally rearranged it. I added the audio of this college demonstration, college kids from a Black campus demonstrating against, you know, the voices of the newscasters, all that whole idea of a collage of audio sound, and then the kids, and then Dr. King. Dr. King was not in the original version,
Right.
But the combination of all that. And then the very last is technically musically, the way that it ends, where it's just this repetition, it goes, that's what I pray, that's the way I pray.
Right.
And things going on, and it goes, dun, 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 dun. All that is brand new. That's from late 2019. I was one of the last to add that on because the song didn't have that section in it. So it's a good combination of really new stuff and some older stuff that got rearranged and worked on, and I just felt now you get a moment where you know that the song is done. You know that you've done everything that you want to do with it and sort of said what you want to say.
Of course. It's yes, an intuitive moment. That's great to hear. Okay, so the record has an arc of a few years. Now, of course, 2016 hit and the shit got real. And the shit that, you know, you've commented on in the past and we've all talked about in the past, but it all kind of came together. I wanted to take just a minute here and give people a taste of one of the videos. There's a great video for Eyes Wide Open, and we'll put the link up. So let's just spend, just get a quick little sample of this.
Not okay. You will not believe what some people say. Up is down, the sky is on the ground. Shoot you in the back is the name of a town somewhere in America. Keep your eyes wide open. Your heart wide open. Keep your eyes wide open so you can really see it. Every day, every lie they say looks like a portrait of Dorian Gray. Maybe white, maybe black, but you can kiss my alternative fact. people say. See what you can see. Keep your eyes wide open. You will not believe what some people say. Keep your eyes wide open so you can really see. Hey, it's not okay.
Wow. Well, I know I said, folks, I was just going to play a little piece of that, but that is so good. I had to play it through. I just want to say, great. This great piece, David.
Thank you.
I want to say to the audience too, for those of you that may be new to this gentleman's music, there's so much there, and that's why I let it play, because he's a great guitarist. He's an incredible keyboard player and pianist and synthesist. And I thought that video was great because you get a taste of everything, or of a lot of things, and he's always pushing the edge with technology. You got the breath controlled stuff going on, so it's a great video and then of course at the heart of it, the social message, the wow, incredible images that, for me, the hair stands up on my arm. Talk to us a little bit, because there's other songs on this record that touch on what's been going on. Talk to us a little about the feedback you've gotten in a time when artists are often chastised and told, stick to the music, that kind of thing. Give us a feel for the pros and cons, that response.
Man, I've got to say, I've had an incredible response to this project, incredible positive response. I've probably done more publicity for this record than anyone I've ever done in my whole career. Yeah. And it's been good. It seems like people want to talk about the issues, and, they're sort of not amazed. I think they just enjoy the way that I sort of presented the message. I sort of couched them in certain rhythms and sounds and everything. But to answer your question directly, it's been fantastic and really positive, and I can't think of anyone sort of being negative and trying to push back against the message or the music. I've gotten incredible compliments about it all. So.
That's fantastic. Oh, that is just really great. And yes, the album, we'll take another soundbite or two in a bit, but again, there's jazz rock, as it's called, fusion. There's funky stuff on there. There's a lot of pop, a lot of soundscapes. The last four things are instrumentals.
Very drumming on there, man.
Well, that's exactly where I'm going next. I'm going to say you have really played with some great drummers in your career, and you continue to, from Ernest Carter to Manu Katché and Max, of course, and so many, too many to list. But on this new record, zooming in on that, Adriano Molinari, who we just heard, and of course your buddy Vinny's on there, Will Calhoun, the great Will Calhoun, yes. Michael Bland, Joe Bonaddio. To give us a snapshot of that, because you said for the Vinny tracks, he was at your place. Were these all done in studio, or was there some email sessions here? Give us a snap of the drums.
So Vinny's on two songs. War in Heaven, the last one that I said was original tracks were done a while ago, and then I rearranged and did a bunch of other stuff. But If, the fourth vocal song on side one, he's on that as well. And the way we did that was I sent him audio files, and we both have the same audio program. We both use Logic. So I was able to send him the whole song minus the drums. I found a loop inside my synthesizer. I found a loop that was just kind of hinting at the kind of feel. It was funky. It wasn't like, precise and anything, but just, this is the kind of neighborhood I want to end up in. So I used that drum loop, but everything else, all the keyboard parts and the bass parts. And did I do the vocals? Yeah, I think I had the vocals done as well. But I saved guitar for last. So anyway, I got to a certain point with it, like there's a whole song laid out. And then I sent it to him. And actually, originally, first time I sent it to him, he wasn't able to do it to him. I sent him a draft of it back in, I'm going to say 2018. Yeah, 2016, 17, yeah, 2018. And he wasn't able to do it because he was recovering from a knee injury. And
Mm,
had to rehab his knee and everything. So he couldn't play at all for about 6 months. And he went into a thing. So he got over that. It's fine and everything. So then when I got to the state again, 2019, maybe summer 2019, I sent it to him again, and it was a better version. And he sent it back to me in like about like 3 days or something. He sent me 6 takes, and the sixth take was perfect. They were all, I could have used any one of them, really,
right.
truthfully. Any single one would have been just acceptable to anybody. But he was good enough to do it 6 times, and the sixth one was just perfection. That's the one you hear. But we do stuff like that as well if we have to. People will send me files, and I'll put stuff on it, and send it back to them, vice
R-
versa.
Right. Were you fortunate enough to catch Vinny with Zappa like in '78 or anything?
No,
Oh,
but he told me stories, man. Because when you're with somebody on a tour like that, you're traveling a lot. You're on airplanes together, and you're on buses, and you're eating together. He used to tell me stories about rehearsals with Zappa, back in the day, and how he said it was like music school. It was like what did he say? It's a combination of Juilliard and the Marx Brothers. It was like the music was fierce, and you had to practice. And he'd call you up at 10 o'clock at night, and like call some late rehearsal for some hard ass piece of music. Everybody would get down there and bust their butts to get it together. But there was this whole, I really love Zappa as an artist. He was fantastic, but I love um, his whole mental thing, his whole take on society, and that
mm,
whole, his kind of, not, I want to call it social sarcasm, but I like what he had to say, and the way that he said it. I really, really, really liked him a lot.
absolutely. I always remind people Frank Zappa, first song on his first album. Those lyrics people should go look at. Mr. America, walk on by the minds that won't be reached. Mr. America, walk on by the schools that do not teach. Mr. America, try to hide the victims of your savage pride. I mean, wow, that sounds like
It's way deep. It's way deep.
that's, so okay. So Vinny, that's how you did it. Now, how about wow, we could do an hour just on your time with Will Calhoun because you did a great duo tour with him.
We did. We have an unreleased record for that. It's
Oh
going to come out. We're just waiting. It's a collection of that tour. We did a tour of the Northeast.
yes,
Played New York, New Jersey, Chicago, somewhere else I don't remember. Played in Asbury Park as well.
hmm
So yeah, we've got a whole album's worth of stuff, and it's going to be maybe summertime of this year. We had a version of it all ready to go. We were still working on different ways of sequencing what songs and all that, but that'll get together. And we even had started an art package together. And again, all this COVID stuff happened, and it just put the brakes on that, and a lot of stuff. But that'll be coming out. But Will and I go back a long, long ways, long time. Um, and he did a thing on this record that he
yeah,
plays on in the middle of the night. So I had the song, I wrote it on a synthesizer. And again, I found this drum loop. It's like a kind of light hip hop kind of loop, right? But it was light, it wasn't major, but I wanted real drums on it. But I didn't want to totally replace the loop because the loop had a certain flavor that was like spooky and mysterious and just right. So I played it for Will. He said, well, how about if I just do like, he played the kit, but he sat down and he played bass drum and hi-hat and
mm,
cymbals, rides him. He had like about 4 cymbals set up, and he was on the bells of the cymbal and bass drum and hi-hat. And he would only do a couple of fills in the tom-toms, but there wasn't like a lot of snare. And he did this thing. Will went to Mali years ago, and he's
right,
lived there for a while. He spent a lot of time studying with the master drummers,
right.
and he knows all that stuff inside out. And what he did was the groove that he put on top, all that cymbal stuff you hear in the bass drum, combined with that loop. I never heard a groove like that. I mean, he lights up the cymbals. It's great, and the combination of that with the loop, it's like Africa squared,
hmm
because the loop was way African hip hop, African American creation. The whole thing was sonically everything, but he put this most natural, the most energetic like cymbal work I've ever heard in my life over top of that to make it a whole groove. He's amazing.
that's great to hear, and it's great news for us here at Make Weird Music that there's a record of you two coming out from that tour,
Oh, yeah.
because that tour, as you say, was only a few dates. I'm sure my dear brother from another mother, Robert Fraza, recorded this. Is this correct?
Mhm. Yes. Yes, you know Robert?
Oh, I've toured
Oh,
with Robert a bunch. Yeah, love him. And I,
fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Main dude.
So
We go we go back to the 80s.
of course.
I don't know. He's fantastic. Yes.
Yeah.
Rob, instrumental in this. Yeah.
Yeah. We've done a lot. So, okay, well, that's exciting. And I'm going to invite you back on the show right here 6 months from now, 4 months from now, whenever that record comes out, because
Okay.
that's going to be great. A lot of people miss that. So, again, live here, let's give a little flavor. Will Calhoun and David.
Oh, this is the
Iridium.
Iridium.
Well, Will Calhoun, the master of the electronic core drum there.
Yeah, oh, he's amazing on the electronic.
So, wow, just a little taste there, folks. But,
I just so I don't want to interrupt you, but
no, please.
No, I haven't seen that. I've seen that clip, of course, because there's all stuff all over YouTube. But if you notice every now and then, if you saw me like shake my hand like that,
oh yeah,
if you look at that clip, I did it about like 3 times, right? When I stopped and I would go, I do like this. It's because I had to do that whole tour with trigger finger.
Ooh.
I've had trigger finger for like a problem since 2018, but last year, and I tried all different with it,
Mm-hmm.
So I tried all kinds of other things. I tried ultrasound, acupuncture, this, that, the other thing. None of it worked. So last October, it looks like you're funny. Last October, I finally had surgery on it, which was very successful. And I'm happy to report that is like completely back to normal.
Oh, great.
No mobility. But that's why I hadn't seen it. I go, what are you doing with the hand? I remember it hurt me so much to get through a tour with that. It's a nasty condition, trigger finger. But yeah, Will was fantastic with that. And I can't wait till this record's out. You're going to really dig it.
I can't wait. And of course, I'm waiting for the super group of Sancious, Reed, Wimbush, and Calhoun.
Uh-oh.
Hopefully.
Look out. Uh-oh.
just putting it out there. But no, okay. Well, folks, look out for that. And there's some videos and Will Calhoun, of course, also very prolific. But when these two got together, wow, you just got a taste of it. There's looping and soundscapes, and I know David did some guitar, and I can't wait to hear that. How about on this record also? Well, you said the Michael Bland, that track was from a few years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Michael Bland track, okay. And so it was a mix of things. Another thing I was wondering on this record, beautiful sounds on it, and that's one of the things, your recording aesthetic. I mean, when people listen back to some of those old records, the tone records or Forest of Feelings, all those records, The Bridge, Transformation, the sound is so good. You know, a lot of records from that period. No, seriously, there's some hissiness. There's some. So, did you have your own, recording? When did you first have your studio that you were controlling?
Well, my first studio, where all of this stuff actually was recorded, the entire album. I had a big studio space in Woodstock, in my place in Woodstock, because I was there for I was in that last house since 1991.
Okay.
January of 91. And the space for my studio was truly huge. It was a 3-level house. And I had the whole bottom level of this house. Part of it was underground, so it was naturally air conditioned. So the hotter it was outside, the cooler it stayed inside. And it was the size of a B room in a professional studio. It was quite large. And we had a keyboard station, drum station, grand piano. We had like a 7-foot grand piano. It was very spacious. And so all of that stuff was there, but in a real professional way, and Robert Fraza actually helped me put the studio together. Robert Fraza and my technician from London, Peter Lorimer, who was my technician with Sting and Peter Gabriel and everybody, actually, Zucchero, almost everybody I worked with. He flew over and helped us get it all together. So it was totally pro situation, very comfy, very spacious, and a cool place to work. And actually, the original title of this album was going to be The Treehouse. And the instrumental, The Treehouse, was going to be, the main song. And really, again, as I started putting it all together, like I said, the election was just kicked me in the butt and saying, come on, just, get it together, finish this. And, but that was going to be the original sound. And it's almost like a homage to the place itself. It was set on top of a hill, one of the highest points in Woodstock, with a view of the Hudson Valley. It was gorgeous. And it was so elevated. It was like, 2,400 some feet up. Your ears would pop on the way home, going up the mountain and coming down. When you get in an airplane, you get to a certain elevation. It was like that, which is fine. But the way the house was, we literally were in the trees, like where the birds lived. So, and it was landscaped in such a way that some of the trees where birds were living, it was sort of overhang the balcony. We had these gorgeous balconies, 2 of them. I don't want to go on too much about the house, but it was really sound inspired. And I've always been into sound, It hasn't been for me just to be like a player of an instrument. I mean, I'm all about that. I'm always working to get better at anything to do with playing better. But it's also been like the mystery of sound, and the beauty of it, and what you can do with sound, and the kind of the emotions and the feelings that you can evoke with the right sound, as well as the right part, the right playing of something. But yeah, it's always been important to me, and yeah, thank you for the compliment. I put a lot of time into it, actually. Sound, especially like when I'm working on recording with synthesizers. I might spend like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes going through a sound library to make sure I've got exactly the right sound. You can't just throw up any old string sound, because there's so many variations of it. And especially the instrument that I use the Yamaha Montage,
right?
Montage 8, the full Monty, and that's an incredible library inside there for everything. But once you do find the right sound, it's it's intuitive, and it'll work. It'll work like with the rest of whatever's going on musically. It's like the right string sound will work with. If there's guitars, organs, vocals, whatever. The wrong sound, it may sound like it's too dense, it's too heavy, it's distracting, whatever. But again, when you just spend the time and really go through it, you get a good result.
That's great. That was so beautifully put. You hit so many things there, and that's I do think of you as a sound sculptor and a sound author, and I think obviously so many artists do because they call you in. And even, one of my favorite songs from the early Springsteen days, Kitty's Back, which the electric piano, just the way you approach that, and the other song where you wrote the string section, so that's great to hear that that's a central thing for you, of course. And the synth patches that we hear all over this record and through the years. So I was going to ask that. So I know you're a montage power user. I always see you have that in your rig. Do you have any of your old synths in your collection? Any of your old mini Moogs or
Oh God,
Prophets?
no! I wish I did. I don't. No.
All gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other hands.
Okay.
In other hands, but no. The good thing is that they're doing incredible recreations of the Moogs now. They're not cheap. They're pricey.
Yes.
They're pretty pricey little mini Moog, and they're talking about still like one note.
Right. I was going to ask you that. Well,
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Elevation. Again, we invite you to come visit in Asheville, and we'll set up a program. I do some things with Moog Music, and they would love to have you visit because they have all their stuff there. They have the Keith Emerson modular, and they have the new Moog One, which is polyphonic. So they have a lot of beautiful things. But you're right, it's all there today.
I would love to do that one day.
Yeah, we'll do that. Have you dabbled into any of the software that's out there, or is the montage it? It's all there. You're
No,
good.
I try and have as expansive a library as I can, but that's always also a work in progress. I don't just arrive at it. I keep it updated and I find other stuff. So the montage is the main thing, but no, I'm into other software as well. And there's all kinds of, and this is like kind of software heaven these days. I mean, your libraries, like your orchestral libraries, oh God.
It is. Omnisphere and all those, yeah.
It's crazy good. It's a great time for a synthesis.
It is, man. It is. Let me give people a taste of the Treehouse, actually. A beautiful song, just to hear the sound of that. 'Cause that's got...
And those synthesizers, those bird sounds, that's all synthesized. I come with a breath controller and a certain sound and a high end of the keyboard. And two tracks of it to get together.
Beautiful, beautiful, gentle tune. And wow, I was wondering about that. I said, is this a mix of birds and synthesis? But that was all synthesis, the birds. That's great. And I love it because I do a lot of synth stuff myself. And in the morning, I'll go sit outside with a cup of tea or coffee, and we have so many birds here. And I'm always thinking the birds are the original synthesists because it's all these fast LFOs.
To listen, if you can carve out the time to just sit and listen to birds. I remember there was one that used to start. He was the first bird to sing on the problem. We had like 5 acres. Like this bird would start at like something like 5:54 on the dot.
Wow.
He would start singing, and he was like first one up, and he would start waking up the other ones, and then you'd hear him on the west side of the property, and then they'd all come. But it was just amazing to listen to the variety of the sounds and the interplay. It's wonderful.
It's true. No, it's heavy, and well, that's a beautiful track. Any thoughts on the? You know what? I'm having such a good time. I'm not looking at some of my questions on YouTube, so I'm going to do that in a second. But while I'm pulling up questions, give us your thoughts on because you're one of the people who, you're one of the architects of this, and I'm not blowing smoke. In '74 when Tone came out, it was right there with Return to Forever, with what Altamil was doing, Jan Hammer was doing, Zawinul, all these groups, Mahavishnu, Jeff Beck's groups. So we appreciate that. And everyone I know that my age that loves that stuff, you got to have the Tone records. And then, of course, you did those two incredible records with Stanley Clark, Journey to Love, School Days. So it's a two-part question. Reflect a bit. We could talk about all those records, but I want to reflect just on the Stanley records because those launched a million bands. Reflect on creating two of the most important records in fusion, I think, Journey to Love and School Days. Reflect on that and take us a little bit into what you think about the rebirth happening today with Thundercat, Snarky Puppy, Knower, Cody Henry, all that. So,
Wow. Well, Stanley's thing, first of all, I was when I got the phone call to do anything with Stanley Clark, I was at my mother's house on East Street, and I was hanging out with my friends, and the Forested Feelings had come out and was spinning around, and it was like, okay. And my mom, she goes, there's about 6 of us downstairs. She goes, "Hey, David," the phone rang, goes, "There's Stanley Clark on the phone for you." I said, "Really?" Okay. And my friends were like, "Whoa, he called you at home." So I go upstairs, and sure enough, he called me and he wanted me to play on his album. There was a record before his first solo album. It's just called Stanley Clark, isn't it?
Right.
Right. So I didn't
Tony
play
Williams
on that record. I didn't play any keyboards. I just played guitar on Concerto for Jazz Rock Orchestra.
Right.
That was my first thing with him. Was his? I think it was just called Stanley Clark.
Right. With Tony and yeah.
Yeah, and Jeff Beck was the other guitarist on it.
Right.
So anyway, he calls me and he tells me the whole thing. So he wants me to come up. He was living in upstate New York, just outside the city. And he said, "Yeah, I'd love you. I heard your record." And also I think I got the call from Stanley because of Lenny White.
Oh.
Lenny White got in touch with me, and for Venusian Summer, his first solo album, I think that was how the Stanley thing came about. I don't remember how the Lenny thing came about. What happened was Forested Feelings was the big launch of it, because that's when people heard that record for some reason. I started getting a lot of phone calls for session work to do stuff with other people. So from Lenny White, and then the Stanley connection. And then when Stanley called me after for the next thing for Journey to Love and School Days, he said, "Yeah, I want you to play guitar on a couple songs or something." But that's how Peter Gabriel connection came about. I got a telegram. This is how long back it goes. A telegram. The record company called me at home and said, "We have a telegram from Peter Gabriel for you. And he heard your album, and he's leaving Genesis, and he's working on some new project, and he wants to know if you'd like to be involved in it." And I know who Peter Gabriel was because I'm a big, Genesis fan and all that. So it's absolutely. But that's too long a story to go into that. But that it all came from people hearing Forested Feelings and then wanting to, inviting me to work on their stuff as well.
That's great. So part 2 of that, have you heard some of these bands like Thundercat, Snarky Puppy, all that?
Thundercat's deep. Yeah. Yeah, I like Snarky Puppy. I'm not too familiar with, but Thundercat he's the real deal. He's deep.
Yeah. Snarky. Check them out. I invite you to. You're a very busy guy. What I love about them, real quick, is even if people don't like everything they do, they're pulling from that tradition of all this music that you've been a part of. But the guy, Michael League, he gets so many people involved. He has these huge bands, 18, 20 piece, and everybody gets a say. And so he's really doing a lot to launch, really music pedagogy and really people studying the history. So, as does Thundercat. So we got a lot of people just saying hello, and they're enjoying it. And they're thanking you for being here. If you all have any actual questions, drop them in there. I'll try to grab. But just some excited fans, David. Just people enjoying videos.
Everybody. Greetings from Kauai.
Greetings from Kauai. We have your links up there and all that. Cool. So, how about here's an oddball question. Talk to me about the band that got away, because there's so many. But I remember watching some videos. You were part of Seal's band one time.
Oh, I was going there. I was wondering if that's where you.
Is that okay?
I said something like that sometime. Like that was the band that got away.
Oh, what a lineup! For the folks that don't know, Brian Blade, Michael Landau, Tony Levin, David, Seal's band. In Seal's band, who did I miss? Anyone? I missed the.
Yes, Mike and backing singer, excuse me, my mind, from Chicago. Michael and I'm so embarrassed now. Two great backup singers.
Sure.
From one from New York and the other from Paul Mabin. Thank you, Brain. Paul Mabin from Chicago and Michael. Excuse me, Mike, your last name. It'll come back. But
Okay.
that was a great band, and
Yeah.
that was one of those things, man. Steele had big plans for that. It was going to be a longer tour because he's very inspired by people like Peter Gabriel and all that. Big fan of Peter Gabriel, and he really wanted to work on a level like that production wise. You know, it's not just have it be like a rock music show, but you know, really go in that direction. But unfortunately, the tides of the music industry did not flow our way for that thing. So, and basically the business, I worked with him for almost like 3 years. So we did some recordings. We did a lot of publicity in Europe for the project. We did some stuff, but he was fantastic. I mean, he's a great singer. I'm a fan of him just musically, but get to know him a bit and be around him for days in the studio. But the business from that whole project disappeared because the record company wanted another Kiss from a Rose, and they didn't hear it. And the minute they didn't hear it and feel it was going to develop, they one by one, they stopped supporting the album. They stopped supporting the record. And then the promoters, one by one, wanted to redo their guarantees. They wanted to redo contracts. So the business fell apart. We did a few shows in Los Angeles. We did something in California, and then we got to the East Coast. We did one show in New Jersey, and then we had a break. And then on that break, everybody found out that was the end of that. But musically, it was a great time. And I know there are some recordings. I actually, because I was a musical director of it, they're not with me now. They're on the way. We have our artwork and stuff is on its way on a shipping container from New York. But I've got CDs of the entire tour, what was recorded. And there's some great playing, you know, and Brian was fantastic, Tony, awesome. And it was good. And he actually inspired me to get my singing together, actually, you know, because this record, Eyes Wide Open, is the first one that I did all the vocals on myself.
Right.
But part of it has to do with his inspiration. He very kindly gave me, he was traveling with his vocal coach, not traveling, but when we were recording in the studio, what was that record? Human Beings was a record. So he has his vocal coach with him every day. And he has these specific exercises to get all the phlegm and congestion off of your vocal cords, because that will totally open up your voice, and it actually changes what you sound like, you know? So, and he's like a coach. He works them out with these exercises. And I said, wow, that's deep. So we were talking about singing, and he said, well, if you want a lesson with him, he'll just, call him up. Here's his number, and I'll tell him to, you know. So I had a couple of lessons with his vocal coach, and that really opened my eyes to a lot of things, and it helped me understand. And through the years, I would get tips about singing. I remember Jack Bruce one day, we were at rehearsal, and I was asking him, this was years ago in the 80s, but he said, he wanted to do a trio. Jack Bruce, Bruce Gary from the Knack, and myself. So we flew over, we rehearsed at his wife's parents' house in Germany. So I think it's in Berlin. And we had this whole room was like the studio. So we took a break, and Jack was an incredible singer. He had a special, Jack always wanted to sound like Otis Redding. But he had this sense of and he sounded like himself, but he really loved Black soul music, Black soul singers, you know, and he combined that with his own thing. And he also had this very kind of operatic sense in his singing. So he was just telling me, I asked him, how do you sound that good? You know, because he sounded as strong or stronger than anything he did with Cream, you know, and that was a long time ago. So he said, it's just like projection. The question is where do you project from? What you don't do is project from your throat. You know, that doesn't work. It comes from your somewhere just above your solar plexus. You know, if you sing from your throat, it tightens up and you don't have good intonation. You have to really relax. And Sting told me some stuff like that in the same way, how you have to really relax your body and sort of let it come out. And then you won't have an issue with intonation, same kind of thing. But yeah, working with Seal inspired me to really work on it and get it together. But boy, that's one thing I wish that could have gone on, because it was good fun.
You know, it really is great. So that's good to hear. So there's a couple records. I'm sorry, there's a couple concerts that happened, and so maybe there's someday we'll hear some of that. Otherwise, you know, it's just what people can see on clips and stuff. Okay, no, really was wonderful. Let's jump back again to the record, and thanks for reminding me too, because on my list in my head of great drummers you play with, of course, there's 200, but can't forget Brian Blade. Man, what a monster, and all the others that you've mentioned. I want to take a look at another track, and this is wonderful because you did another lyric video for Urban Psalm. So I wanted to give people a taster of that. So here we go, folks. This is from the new record. Again, we're with David Sancious, and this is from his Eyes Wide Open release.
Students angry over racist incidents on the campus of U of M.
A black man claims he was denied access to a bathroom at a Los Angeles area store, even though a white man was given the entry code.
Bigotry and hatred were addressed tonight after what happened inside one of these dorms.
A black man has spurred protests.
The basic thing about a man is not his specificity, but his fundamental. Not the texture of his hair or the color of his skin, but his eternal dignity at work.
May I walk the streets alone, free from suspicion. If you change your mind, maybe in my lifetime. Maybe not. When you look into my eyes, oh, do you see me? When you look at me, is it me that you see? Not something that you saw last night on TV. 'Cause that's not me. Oh, no.
We out here, we've been here. To sacrifice and even to die if necessary in order to be free. This reveals that we have come a long, long way.
Every day, that's what I pray. That's the way I pray. Listen. I pray.
Wow, that's another beautiful one, folks. That is Urban Psalm from the new record. You know, I'm glad you're singing, man, and I'm glad that what a great story to tell us, because I was wondering, say, why are we singing on all of the tracks here? So, as you said, the Seal connection, beautiful song, and there's 4 instrumentals on this, folks, and so that's the thing. This record really is a grab bag of that's not even a great word, but you know what I mean. It's a collection of all these sides of.
Hey, it's also available as vinyl now.
Okay, on your website.
As I thought, yes, you can go to headstrongmedia.com.
Okay.
There's and we have a YouTube channel now. If you go to my YouTube channel, it's there. But that's going to be available, I think, also through Amazon. Yeah. There's a few sources, but that's out now. And when I conceived of the project, I did a side one, side two kind of mentality. And when I was sequencing what song was going to follow what song, I set it up on purpose so that the 4 vocal songs would all be on the same side and not mixed in with instrumentals, and the same thing so that the other instrumentals would all be together. So I wanted it appreciated as a sort of, as
right.
an idea rather than, sort of, mixing it up.
Straight through. Yeah, no,
That's how the vinyl is like that. So the side one of the vinyl is the first 4 vocal songs. Side 2 is on the instrumentals.
That makes sense because it's nothing like that dichotomy feel we had on albums. And again, folks, there's just some burning instrumentals on there, as well as the beautiful songs. Here's a question. Someone's saying you've played with so many incredible artists. This is Dr. John Angus. How are you, Dr. John? David,
Hey.
You've worked with quite a few legendary musicians. Is there someone you've not had the chance to work with, but you wish to?
Oh, wow.
Always a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. Wow. Do you know, I almost did a project with Gary Husband back in 2018 when I was trying to put together Open Secret. Through a German concert promoter got in touch with me. And then somehow Gary and I spoke. At first I thought it was going to be a trio, and then we were looking for a bassist. But it didn't work out for scheduling. The promoter couldn't really get it together. But that's an excellent question. But I got to say, there's a lot of other, if I remember to think of it, if my mind can work. But he's an incredible musician, Gary. He's outrageous. He's an outrageous keyboard player. I mean, of course, people know him as in drums and 10cc and all that, but the guy he's deep as a composer. And man, can he work his way around a piano. He's just really fantastic musician. And we had plans to do, he was going to do drums, I'll do keyboards. He can do keyboards, I was going to do guitar. We're going to do double keyboards, keyboard synths. There was all kinds of possibilities, And maybe one day in some form that can happen.
Hey, there's still time. You're both here and vibrant and healthy. I want it to happen. That's my vote. Oh man, that would be great. No, big fan of Gary. I had the pleasure of working with him once when I was working for Eddie Jobson and John Wetton. He did it. Do you know he played with them? He did the UK thing. Yeah. So, but please let that happen because you guys have so much kind of family tree stuff. You've both played with Jeff Berlin. You've both played with McLaughlin. Wow. Okay. Gary Husband and you. All right. Great question because that.
Believe me, there's other people. I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
It's most recent in my mind of something that I wanted to happen that kind of almost happened.
But as you say, the beautiful part, you both play so many instruments, so that could be wild. Okay. Let's see. Someone has a question here. Let's see. He's Danya Ross. He's from Monmouth County. How are you, Don? Don's saying David is such a beautiful artist. I want to ask if Dixie from Force of Feeling should be a Republican anthem. Just love it. That's funny. Some Monmouth County humor.
Oh man, that's good. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Why not? They need something. They need more than a song, those people. They are burning themselves down in public, man. It's embarrassing. It's Orwellian. It's Orwellian how weird it is now and what they're doing. Everything to be against, just to be against the basic concepts of democracy. Forget about it. They don't want a Democrat to be in power. They don't want democracy. They want to keep control and they want to stop you from being an American for having that right. It's crazy. And they're so blatant now. Forget about your dog whistle or your flag, whatever. They just come straight out. It's Jim Crow in a business suit every day of the week. These people are nuts. And we're not going to stand for it. You try to stop us from, you're going to make it a crime for me to give a bottle of water to someone standing in a hotline because they want to vote? How insane is that? Why don't you just pull out your bullwhip and try and whip me, you slaving bastard? No, we're not going to stand. We'll find a way to work around every stupid law like that, and we'll make it more. You're going to be beat more than you were last time. We will not stand for this kind of plantation mentality bullshit. Pardon my language, but
No.
it's not going to happen. You watch. It's going to be Stacey Abrams on steroids, man. Next time. There's going to be a bunch of Stacey Abrams. It's already working on the many levels. But these people are just not to be believed. It's shameful. They're embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for them. The nuts and stuff that comes out of some of these people's mouths, I'm embarrassed for them. And I'm not part of their tribe. I don't believe they do politically, but do you have a mirror? Do you see yourself? Do you see the vitriol and the stupidity coming out of your mouth on a daily basis? Stop it. Wake the fuck up.
David, what do you really think? Because you're kind of.
Let me tell you how I really feel about it.
You're not really. I'm not hearing. No, hey, man.
Sorry.
Ditto on that. I mean, and again, that's what's. I'm so happy to hear that the feedback from this record has been so strong. People are listening, because it's really it's a yin yang record, and we're gonna wrap. I wish we had 5 hours, but we're gonna wrap pretty soon. But the yin yang aspect of the record is you talk about these things, no holds barred, but there's the yin yang solution. In one way, I'm taking it as, here's the beauty of life. Here's the beauty of music. Relax, put this into your soul. Here's our solution, folks. Get together, enjoy music from around this beautiful planet. Here's my take on some of it. And so you offer the solution.
That's really nice. That's how you about the second or third person who's perceived it that way. Like the message is the message up front, but then the energy of the instrumentals are the sort of part of it as well. That's part of an energetic solution in a way.
Energetic solution. That's it. It's cleansing. Okay. Okay. John says, David, your music has this transcendent, deeply meditative quality. Is this the byproduct of a deep sense of spiritualism or a kind of personal philosophy? So you had touched at that at the front when we talked a little bit about how important all these things are: yoga, exercise, sitting quietly. So I think you kind of answered that question for us, but take a few more.
Well, I mean, it's if you perceive a sense of transcendence from the music, that's great for me, but that's just sort of proof to me that music is itself transcendent. I'm just like I'm carrying it. It's not because I'm so smart or so hip. It's just, and I feel blessed to be in the chain. I feel like I'm an instrument for music, like that is an instrument for me. I touch that, the invisible source of whatever music is, gets me, and it uses me as an instrument. I touch that, use that instrument, and then bang, you get something. But it's all this actual invisible energy. It's the thing itself. So yeah, I do feel, I'm not a religious person, but I do feel very spiritually motivated. I think it all lives and dies in your spirit. It's a spiritual thing. It's not a formal religious thing. So yeah, and again, I feel that's great that you feel that way. That makes me feel fantastic. But again, it's proof that it's the music itself. It's not me that's transcendent. It's the music that's transcendent, and I'm just in the chain for you to have that transcendent experience.
That's great. That's a great and tone, transformation, the speed of love. I mean, those are kind of records. That was the first one. I was just flipping through record area, and I knew of you, but I didn't know that album yet. And the title and the picture, everything you're saying, I love that you got to put that much time into that title and record cover, because wow, just
the title is from a book of poetry.
Oh,
actually a
I
poem.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Transformation, the speed of love. Yeah.
Yeah.
And same thing. I thought, wow, that sounds great. And then I actually got the book and read some, but they let me do what I wanted on that record. As far as artwork, I didn't have control over what the package was going to look like in the first time.
Okay.
But the second one, I really just pressed a little harder, and they let me do what I wanted. And the artwork was painted by one of my friends that I went to school with, Tony Tillman.
Okay, right.
Yeah, we went to school together. We grew up a few blocks from each other, and he's a fantastic artist. And I asked him to do that, and it came out great. Came out really great. He's wonderful.
That is fantastic. Well, folks, we're going to wrap in a minute here. I always ask the artist, is there something else that you wanted to touch on that we didn't bring up?
No, it was a good conversation. I think, I don't know what I could say to everyone out there is, first of all, thank you so much for any attention that you give to my music or anything that I'm doing, really. And be good to yourself, be well, be patient, you know, and this is a very challenging time for most people, you know, myself included. So do your best, you know, to wake up, show up, and be the best you can be on that particular day. And that's all anyone can ever ask of you. So there you go.
That's great. I'm gonna remind people too. We have some links in the chat, in the chat. But you know, I always say to artists on here. Sometimes I have these artists and they have nothing on the web, and they're oh, I'm working on it. I want to salute you because it's such an important part of not even the 21st century, but geez, the past 20 years. So folks, do go check out David's site because a lot of work has gone into this. It's very comprehensive. You can learn more about the record. You can get some links. You can order it, Apple Music, Bandcamp. You can get the vinyl, as he said. You can keep up on him. And there's the tweet of when we put this out there. But really, do take some time because artists spend a lot of time to do these things.
Well, listen, that doesn't get done by me alone. I have a lot of help.
Of course.
Multiple people who helped me do that, like my manager, John McCracken, my publicist, Leslie Diana, other publicists, people from Glass Onion Company. So it's a joint effort for sure. So, but
yes, I'm happy that you had a chance to mention some names there. And yes, my dear friend Billy James. Yes, Glass Onion, another friend we have in common. But folks, go check this out.
My friends also, I got to say, my friends
please.
at Slow Films, how the videos that we have, that's my friends at Slow Films. Craig and Stacey McCord, they're fantastic. Those things would not exist without them, you know, being who they are as artists and working with me. So,
well, that's beautiful, man, and it's testament to the power of positive attraction because you obviously have an amazing team here and you've worked with some folks for so many years. But people who can go dance around in this site and jump off and listen to some of these records from every corner of the musical map that this man has done, from Hall & Oates to our man Tony Levin to Phyllis Hyman and Narada Michael Walden. I mean, folks, you know, it's just been an honor because so many great records in my life. I've been listening and you look on the back and you go, there he is again. When does he sleep? when does he sleep? Zucchero and, you know, you know, it's really been great to speak with you, man. And
my pleasure.
You know,
really, I so enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So stay on. I'm going to end the chat, but I'm going to end the stream, but you stay on for a minute here. And right. Folks, thank you for tuning in. By the way, the Make Weird Music audience, really appreciate you folks. Really appreciate Anthony and all the team at Make Weird Music. And I want to say a couple quick things. Please subscribe to our channel. We're here to keep presenting music that's outside the box, and we're here to keep bringing you interesting music like we did tonight. I wanted to say very quickly, besides subscribing, you'll find out about the next couple interviews on Wednesday, May 12th, on my other show, The Gear Spotlight. I've got the great Jack Hotop, who is the sound designer from Korg for 40 years or so. 2 weeks from tonight, I've got one of the leading thereminists on planet Earth. Her name's Dorit Chrysler. We'll have her in 2 weeks to talk about her journey and this new movie, Sisters with Transistors, about women in synthesis, going back to Clara Rockmore, right? The 1920s thereminist. So that's going to be great. Wednesday, the 26th, I can't wait for this. We have Katie Coleman, who's an astronaut and plays her flute in the International Space System. Folks might remember that in the news. So we're going to be talking to an astronaut who's a musician. And then May 28th, the one and only Adrian Ballou will be here talking about his new record. And then we have on June 9th, Diego Tejada from Haken. So, folks, we're starting out our spring and summer here, and we started out with tonight with that string of people. And again, we want to say thank you and good day to Mr. David Sancious. We will see you again.
Take care, everybody. Be good.
Okay, cool. All right.